We'll start with questions for players, then we'll excuse them and get to Chris. So open up for questions for players.
Paige, you and Kyrie shared a moment there. Just what did that moment mean to you?
It was pretty surreal. That's somebody who I've looked up to and has been my favorite player since I was really, really young. So for him to come out and support us, support women's basketball, I had his daughter there, get to meet him. He's been like a big brother figure for me, and to finally meet him in person, it was a great moment.
Paige, you talked about the support for women's basketball. Obviously, sold out game tonight, 20,000 people in the stands. What does a game like this and an arena like this mean for the Dallas Wings and for you personally?
Yeah, it just makes you excited for the future and what it can continue to look like if we keep investing in women's sports, keep letting us play in platforms like this, arenas like this. There was a great turnout, a great environment. It just makes you excited as an individual and as a team to continue to keep representing Dallas. And so, yeah, just excited for the movement.
Right, go ahead.
You guys came back after being down at the 20 points early. What does that say about just this team?
That we have a lot of fight, but obviously it's hard in this league to come back because every team's really good. So getting in a hole like that is tough, but we definitely showed fight, but we can't start off like that in the first.
4 of your 6 20-plus-point games come in the last 5 games. What's been behind your recent scoring surge?
I think just being aggressive, looking to create my own shot, which also helps me create for others. But reading what the game needs from me on that given night, and for this team, what this team needs me to be, which is I feel like is aggressive on offense. And then my teammates doing a great job of getting me the ball, screening, coach drawing up plays for me, and giving me the opportunity to do that.
Hi, Paige. That half-court, or not half-court, that 8-time record for that buzzer beater shot, was that the hope, was that the spark, was that the momentum that you feel like you and your teammates needed to go into that second half to get those to get the lead over Indiana a couple times there?
I think for the most part, a lot of our effort in the second quarter, undoing our very slow start, to cut it to 13 after we were down 23. That was just huge. We wanted to get it to as close as to 10 as possible. And then I think really the spark was that third quarter defensively, us locking in and really paying attention to the details of the scout, and making things as difficult as possible for them.
Hey, you talked about Kyrie being your favorite player, and his game compared to yours, the dribbling, ball handling, shiftiness, the mid-range game. How did you decide that was the right style for you when you were developing your game?
I want to be as unguardable as possible, and I feel like Kyrie's probably one of the most unguardable people to ever play the game. So that starts with scoring at all 3 levels. So adapting the mid-range game was super essential for me in my game, and also being able to get to the rim, shooting from behind the 3-point line. So I guess just looking to be a 3-level scorer.
Arike, this will be, you guys have back-to-back, you obviously have another game tomorrow with your travel. You spent a lot of energy making that comeback. How do you kind of refocus, get your body right, and get ready to turn it around and play less than 24 hours later?
Yeah, just recovery, what we always do after games, try to get some rest, a little bit extended rest for tomorrow, but, it's professional basketball, so we got to get locked in ready for tomorrow.
I had 2 questions, one for Arike and one for Paige. For Arike, for you being here your whole career, when you first started here in Dallas to be on this big stage, how much has it been for you personally? Did you ever envision playing a big game at the Airlines Center like this when you first got here, like your rookie year?
I didn't really think about what to come in the future. I was just happy to be a pro, happy to play basketball. But, the growth that I've seen these last 6 years with women's basketball in general is just growing. And it's amazing to, play in this environment, play in front of all these fans, and hopefully this continues.
And for Paige, does it seem like every time you touch the court, the game's slowing down? Is that why you get more aggressive and starting to kind of look the way you did at UConn?
I think every single game, from game to game, I'm learning, trying to grow, get better, especially with my reads offensively, specifically ball screen reads, how I can counter top blocks and aggressive defenders, and how I can just be efficient in my movements and my cuts and offensively. So I think it just comes with film, and putting in work in that area.
I just felt for Paige and Arike. What have the two of you learned about each other in your first year together in terms of how to play off each other, rhythm wise? What do you two learn about each other?
Yeah, I think we're still growing. We're figuring out each other's tendencies, but obviously there's three other people on the court, not just us. So, being able to play with all five of us, the starters, the bench, just being able to build that chemistry, that you can see that a lot of teams that have been together for a lot of years. So obviously we've only been together for a couple months, but it's going to keep growing, and, I'm excited about that.
Same for Paige.
Yeah, just getting to know where she likes the ball, which side of the floor, which way she likes to come off screens. Getting her in more actions, getting her more looks, more touches is something that I'm still trying to get better at. As a point guard on the floor, it's my job to do that. So, like she said, just we're still learning, we're growing, we're getting better together as a duo, but also as a team. But I think the most important thing is that we both just want to win. So whatever that looks like on any given night, it might be different. That's what I hear.
For the players we talked to this afternoon, you made the point that whether Hayden Clark played or not, there were a lot of step guards on this team that he was playing. Just your impressions of the game Kelsey Mitchell had tonight and what they said.
Yeah, it's like they definitely have like two different styles of play. But in both, Kelsey Mitchell's obviously great at off-ball moving, coming off double screens, single screens, pin downs, zoom actions. Just she's really aggressive, and they like to play through her more tonight. Obviously with Kaylin out, but they have great pieces up and throughout the whole roster. So. And they shot extremely well from the floor, and obviously a part of that is defensively, us trying to make things tougher for them, which I think we did a better job in the second half. But yeah, they're a complete team.
Thank you. Thanks.
Obviously, you're always looking to win, but what can you and the team take from a game like this when you make a match come back, take the lead late?
Yeah, it's tough. You don't want to just. We're gonna try to pull the positives out of all of it, but there's no. It was disappointing the way we started that game. It was just extremely disappointing how we came out flat, and that we needed that to get us going. So that's on me. In terms of getting that locker room ready and making sure that they're motivated and they're ready to perform from the tip. That being said, though, when you put yourself in a hole to scratch and claw, and to again our bench was just productive and a surge, and then the starters responded early in the third, and so yeah, it's encouraging to know that you have a group that is resilient and not going to just roll over. So again, we're still working to put 40 minutes together consistently.
Coach, looking at Ogunbowale Boston, she's just so strong down low. It's really hard to defend. I'd love to get your take from the coaching lens. Just what makes her such a difficult force in the paint?
Yeah, she's got that combination of strength and more quickness than you think, right? When she can get to her spots and she can power through you. I thought tonight she had some good counters as well and scored over her right shoulder a couple times. So the more, she continues to build that, the more, the tougher she's going to be to guard. But she's physical. She's a good screener. She just works angles really well and does so much work before the catch that you don't see that now puts her in positions to make easy, more efficient plays around the hoop.
You talked yesterday about wanting to get out of transition and run against this team. They really bogged you down early on the offensive end of the floor, made you go late in the shot clock. Was that something they were doing, or was that, like you mentioned earlier, did you guys came out a little bit flat, or a combination of both?
Yeah, I think our first transition basket was this one. The three at the end of the second quarter, that was our first transition basket. It's tough when you're taking the ball out of the hoop, right? They shot over 70% in the first half. So our challenge is when we're not getting stops, can we still generate a tempo and a pace? But we just weren't able to do that. And it's hard when you have to go against a half-court defense the entire time. And their credit to them, their physicality bothered us, right? Like they just our movement wasn't there, whether it was off the ball on pin downs or them top blocking, ball screens with them being a little more aggressive. They were just extremely physical and just kind of blew up our initial actions. So, yeah, we've got to respond and find ways to loosen things up and be able to still get to space and still execute when teams are being extremely physical. But it helps when you get stops and run and play more freely in the open.
Case.
Can you talk a little bit about like how Maisha kind of got things started earlier? Because y'all were kind of flat, and then she was able to hit some pretty good shots to get the offense rolling.
Yep. Just good energy off the bench again. She just great communicator out there and just is a good connector. And so I love that she's just been more aggressive here these last couple of games off the bench, looking for her own offense. So we need that from her. And I'm just, since she's moved there, I've liked these 2 games with what she's given us off the bench.
Thank you.
Coach, y'all came back from 23 down as we talked about, and it felt like, Paige's shot making, Arike got going late in the third with 8 in that little short burst. They'll take the lead, and then over the next 5 minutes, Arike gets 2 shot attempts, Paige doesn't get any. Is there any focus on getting your star players more shots in the game's tightest moments?
Totally. And, that's part of that's on the coaching staff, but it's also on, the other team is doing everything they possibly can to not allow those two to shoot the ball. So there's a balance there, right? It's tough when teams are being that physical. Can you still work to be able to make sure you touch the ball and get a touch? And then again, are we running the right actions to be able to help them? So it's a balance. But their physicality, their denials, for sure, it disrupted us most of the game.
Chris, my question is basically building off of your last answer. What, from your point of view, what happened after Paige hit those couple of buckets? When it hits that bucket, everything's rolling, then the wheels kind of fall off. From your vantage point, what happened after?
Yeah, I think we fouled, and then, they just put their head down and got to the rim. Ari got to the rim there, Kelsey Mitchell got to the rim. I thought it was a 4-point game, and we got a miss and a rebound, and then we turned it over to the backcourt, and then Natasha Howard makes that in and makes it 6. That was kind of like a backbreaker there at the 3-minute mark even, that if we just secure the rebound and make an outlet pass, now we're playing against a broken floor early. So just some, we couldn't get a stop down the stretch. What did we get? 2 stops in the last 4 minutes once we took that 1-point lead. And a lot of that was just them putting their head down, determined to get to the rim. So credit to them for making plays down the stretch.
What do you think ultimately led to that slow start? Do you think it was just a mental, like, what do you think was happening?
Yeah, I don't know. I hate to, I don't want to, I don't know. I got to be better in the locker room and make sure that they're motivated. They've got to be better as a team and make sure that even though they felt it early, like, could we have gotten it back earlier and not let it balloon to this early 20-point lead? So not going to make any excuses. We've just got to be better.
Hi, Coach. This is just a fun little question for you. How are you able to keep your man bun so together during high stressful games and tight arenas like this?
Just tie that thing tight and try not to get too animated out there.
Last one over.
Elusive gets.
Coach, despite the outcome of the game, it was high energy. It was a packed house. Do you think this is kind of a snapshot of things to come when the team does move to Dallas next season?
I hope so. Yeah, just, again, extremely grateful for this opportunity and love that Dallas showed out. And, again, disappointed in our start, but I think they saw the resiliency and the fight to come all the way back and to take a 1-point lead. I think the game was still very much exciting. You saw star players doing their things, making shots. So I think overall, when you take a step back, it was still a fun and a very good night for women's basketball for sure, as much as it hurts with that first quarter start. So hoping that, people who came maybe for the first time, they'll be back for sure. Like they liked what they saw on the floor, and we gained some more fans tonight. So, just grateful for the opportunity and thought that there's more of that to come for sure. Thank you.
Thank you.